Hey guys, welcome back. So today on Modern Masters Auto, we have a diesel E250. It's a really great car. It's a W212 chassis. It is the facelift. So it has these awesome updated headlights, cool new grills. But this car is great. It's diesel, gets 50 miles a gallon. So what more could you ask to commute with this vehicle? But it's time, it needs some motor mounts. We're going to be installing the motor mounts. We're gonna install a transmission mount, and we might swing by the coupe and throw in that 507 steering wheel and shifter. So a lot going on today. Let's get started. Guys, and Rusty is checking out the motor mounts. As you can see, this side looks fairly easy. It is right there. These are electronic motor mounts, so it's plugged in. And then you got one down here buried. And then here are the new motor mounts. So as I said, they are connected with a sensor wire right there. Got both sides, left and right. Here is the part number, made in, of course, Germany. Part number of this side. And then this is the transmission mount. No wires or anything fancy with that. And there's the part number. Now, I gotta tell you guys, usually we get all of our parts from the Mercedes warehouse. We did not with these. We got these from FCP Euro. They were a better deal as a package for all three. So link down below, but fcpeuro.com. These guys are awesome. They sell all kinds of factory parts for pretty much anything you need. You can get liquid moly direct from them, and you will definitely want to check out their lifetime warranty program. It is great. It's saved some customers I've heard of. It's even sending their oil back and getting fresh oil. So fcpeuro.com, and let's see how we're getting these mounts out.
Getting started on these mounts. And this side looks pretty straightforward. Plenty of room to get it out there. However, this side over here, not so much. You can barely see it tucked in there. I looked at the service procedure on ProDemand. It wants me to take the catalytic converter and all the exhaust off. I'm gonna try to not do that. I'm going to try to get in there, get that top bolt loose, get the bottom bolts loose, and snake it out through the front here by taking that charge pipe off there. So hopefully I can do that once I loosen all the mounts. But I'm gonna start with the easy side first. And to get started, these are electric dampening mounts. I did go ahead and loosen that one connection. I just need to disconnect it, which I'm probably gonna need both hands to do, and possibly a pick tool. So let me get the tripod out, and I'm gonna try to disconnect that and get some extensions and get these mount bolts out of here. I'm gonna have to get an extra extension for this back one. And while we're up top here, I'm gonna try and go ahead and get the other side loose from up top. So I gotta fight it when I'm down there. So my goal is to extension on the two tiny 13mm bolts. There's one on either side. And then you're supposed to have to take that converter out of the way to get that top bolt. But I'm gonna try to use this M156 mount tool. So I think if I can snake my hand down in here, or maybe even from the bottom, once I get the hose out of the way, I should be able to get this tool in there, loosen the top, and get it out of there and try to save myself some time. So that first thing I'm gonna start with getting those 13s out. All right, now we can go up and try and get that hose out of the way and see what we got. So, upon further inspection, headed up in the air, that's not gonna work. So I'm gonna do it the way the instructions say to. Mostly because, one, this is in the air. My little tiny T-Rex arms physically can't reach the mount if I was going to try to get it from the front, because the subframe is way up there and the mount is way back here, and I just can't reach it. So I know I wouldn't be able to get the new one in there correctly. So I'm gonna do it the right way. But I saw some coolant leaking, and I'm pretty sure that the thermostat housing right here has been replaced recently, but the water pump is leaking real bad. Let me see if I can get you guys down in there. So you can see all this dried up pink nastiness, and the water pump is leaking pretty bad. You can see it's wet down in here. It's kind of slinging all over the belt, slinging all over this stuff back in here. So that looks like it's, you know, super easy to do. Yeah, so I guess that's next. But I'm gonna go ahead and, while I'm up here again, go ahead and unbolt that V-band. That way I don't have to get, after I put the car up in the air, and start taking the exhaust off. I'm gonna start by taking off all the shields and electronics, for the exhaust sensors, get the converter and DPF and all that. So we get these shields out of the way. And then I already unplugged the module that controls the pressure sensor up top. But I need to be able to get to all this to unplug it from the module over here as well. So we're gonna unplug all of that so this can come down and out. Get these brackets out of the way here. And a little bit of praying because we gotta get that one up there too. I do have to take off these hard lines right here because even though I have everything unhooked from way up top there, this is still mounted to the top converter. So I can't get this DPF off of here until I unhook that hard line. And it's just kind of taking a while because there's a bunch of soot and nastiness built up in there. But once I get that the whole way off, I should be able to drop this DPF the whole way out and then get to that top one. All right, so finally, this is loose and I'm having some trouble getting this connector off of here, so I don't want to damage it. So I'm just gonna kind of swing this out of the way over here for right now. And we'll just let that hang out there on the lift so I don't have to worry about breaking that or anything. So now we have one more to get to. I tell you, wasn't expecting to do all this. And Craig seems to think if I could leave this one here and kind of jack it up to get that out of there. But it's getting dark. I'm gonna get a flashlight under here.
All right, guys, we are in the E63 coupe. See how it has an AMG cluster now with the actual 6.3 badging there. But it is very non-AMG steering wheel and shifter. We are going to change that. Just not doing it. Little baby paddle shifters. Nope. All right, guys, and there you have it. Look at that AMG steering wheel, AMG shift knob, matching stitched shift knob, and Edition 507 steering wheel in the E63 coupe. Goes wonderful with that cluster. I am just loving this interior. Now we are going to change this out with the Sport Plus knob that goes right here so we can control the transmission in Sport Plus. So hopefully we can find a black one and it will just look beautiful in here. But yes, take a look how nice that looks. Back to the video of Rusty working on the W212 diesel, getting those mounts swapped out.
Hey, so it's me again. Quick little update. Nothing that we mentioned before worked. So new plan. I was trying to jack the engine up to get the mount out of there, and the engine wouldn't go up high enough to even get the mount loose. And the reason why is because these axles were hitting the subframe in here. You can see here, it's a little mark up there where the axle was hitting the subframe when I was jacking it up, and it wasn't enough room to even get the mount loose. So I'm going to take these axles out. Wasn't really planning on doing all that, but it is what it is. And that way I can give all the room in the world to lift that engine up, get that mount out of there, and I'm sure the rest of this will be super easy because so far I no longer want to own a E250. I was trying to get my wife one of these, but it's been such a pain with all the coolant leaks and all this stuff here that I don't really want one anymore. But I'm sure Anthony's will be fine. I'm sure it's a great vehicle. I just don't want one anymore. But I'm gonna get these axles out of here and hopefully the mount's out. All right, there's one. Now I can move on to the other side. Yeah, and there's two.
You're gonna have to take the alternator off?
I think so.
Oh wow, look at it, it's right there. You can see the alternator, you can see the mount behind it. Wow, toit. This one, you can see it. Hey guy, how are you back there?
He's just ready to fall out of there. This one's like, hey, how the
It's like, let's put a new alternator in also.
yeah, how the rod bearings looking while we're doing this? All right, I'm gonna really crank this thing up and see if I can get it out of this side. It's about as high as it wants to go. Trans is hitting the back. Definitely has to come out the front.
See it.
Because it gets thicker, because it sits down in there. All right.
So alternator has to come out.
So alternator has to come out. There's no shortcuts to this, no matter which way you go about it. But I'm under here, so I might as well change this other one, you know? Get something done today. All right, well, there's one. Side B for God, that was a to get out of there. All right, and in order for me to get to the alternator, a lot easier, I decided to just go ahead and take the fan out because it looked like it was pretty simple. And that opened up plenty of room for us to get the alternator and the mounts out of there. Taking two of these bolts out, and I should be able to get this alternator out of the way. All right, so I got the alternator in here loose and floppy, and all I need to do now is take off the nut for the power wire to the alternator. And of course, there's not enough room for me to go up there and really hold it. So I had to move the camera out of the way so I could get my hand up in there to hold the alternator still. I finally broke it loose. So now, get him out of there. Alright, so we're gonna lay him up right here. And then I'll put the car back down, get the alternator out of there so we don't risk damaging anything, jacking the engine up, and then we will get, finally, that mount out of there. And I'm gonna jack the engine up for hopefully the last time. Alright, let's see if that's good enough. Alright, so it's out of there. Thank God. That one's labeled for you too. B for what a bitch it is to get it out of there. Oh, jeez. Okay. Worst part is the only thing that one was bad, it was just the other side. But and just so you know, they are two different part number engine mounts. The only difference is which direction the wire goes to. So there's two different part numbers. You can see the A212, 240, 31, 17. 31 is the passenger side, and 30 is the driver's side. But it looks like the only difference is just the direction of which the harness runs on these. You definitely don't want to install this backwards and have to do this twice. Alright, I got the bolts in there loosely. Looks like everything's lined up, the pressure down off of the engine. And just be really careful doing this because one shop I was working at before Craig and I worked together, I was doing mounts on a Toyota Highlander, and I had my hand in there, and just like that, the engine shifted a little bit, and the block of wood slid off my jack stand, and my hand got trapped in here. The engine fell and crushed my hand, and all the other mechanics were out on a test drive. So I was just laying there yelling because my hand was crushed, and the only person that actually came out and helped me about 5 minutes later was the service advisor because he heard me yelling for help, and he didn't know how to use a lift or anything to be able to help get the lift off of me. So while my hand's crushed, I'm teaching him how to use a lift to relieve the pressure from my hand, and then I didn't have feeling in my thumb for like, I don't know, a month or two. Funny is, early that week, I put him on 2 weeks notice to go work with Craig, and I think they were terrified I was going to sue him or something, but I could never do it to somebody, so. But it was my own fault anyway. But yeah, so now my thumb still makes a little clicky sound almost 7 or 8 years later. But yeah, so be careful, make sure your wood is in there straight and it doesn't slip. Alright, I got the alternator back up in there. Didn't really feel much of that because, well, pretty straightforward. And then I might be leaving the belt off because apparently we're going to be doing the water pump today as long as the parts get here in time. So I'm going to go ahead and throw these axles back in while the car's still jacked up. is the harness that runs from the new motor mount. Just reached up in there. I already got the other side. It was way easier to get it from underneath on that side, but this side I couldn't reach. And it just snaps into these holes. Alright, now I'm going to put the exhaust back up in here, and I'm pretty sure the only purpose for taking this out is so that it doesn't hit the body of the car when you're jacking up the engine to change the mount. So I'm going to move this clamp back out of the way. Get access, I just don't want to forget to tighten up that sensor tube up here. And we have our bracket and our covers. And get our heat shield back up in there. And while we're down here, I'm gonna go ahead and knock out this trans mount. Go ahead and get this bracket out of the way. Go ahead and take off the bolts holding the mount to this bracket. Alright, so we don't got to lift it up that much. We're just keeping it supported while we drop the bracket. And we also need to unbolt these two bolts back here, or nuts rather. We got our fancy new one. Now we will put this back on here. This is way over engineered for this tiny little engine. Lower it back down.
How goes it, Rusty?
This is the easiest thing I've done in 2 days.
Oh, nice. Nice. Awesome. That was a good break from building AMG engines.
No.
Oh, you'd rather build engines all day?
I'd rather build 3 engines than do these mounts ever again.
That's hilarious. Well, good thing I have 2 more for you. Back to the engine room where you go. All right, there is the last 2 nuts under here. Ta-da! All right, guys, well, that wraps up the motor mounts on the E250 diesel. Rusty still has a little bit of things left to do that we are not going to film. He's going to be doing the water pump and the trans service, and then this diesel will be ready to hit the highway and put another 1,000,000 miles on it. So if you liked today's video and you'd like to see Rusty struggle through a job that was supposed to be quick and easy, give this video a big thumbs up,
Share with your friends,
and subscribe. And then most importantly, get ready for the next video because we have some massive AMG builds getting done and getting filmed. So stay tuned for that, and we'll see all of you on the next one. Good job. Good job. Quiet. Is the mic on? Yes, for 2 seconds. Just give me 2 seconds. Is it on? Are we live?
we're live.
We're live. Hey guys, welcome back. So today on Modern Masters Auto, who was talking? No one talking. Oh. False alarm, so take back the anger. All right.
What the hell is going on? I think that phone was having a seizure.
So it has these awesome updated headlights, cool new grills, and someone's phone is ringing. God.
Nope.